Executive Director of the SBA Network. And everyone, let's just welcome up Mark. Mark. Thank you. You'll notice there was no discussion of me being on Good Morning America. I don't know if you noticed that. That was like the briefest introduction I ever get. I said, say a sentence. I guess that was a sentence. It was a sentence. Right? It was a sentence. Well, welcome. How many of you really did get a lot out of Maury's presentation? Completely changed the way you look at managing or leading our people, and certainly leading is an important thing today. Leadership is important today, and in addition to leadership, we also have to lead in the marketplace. How many feel they're a market leader already in their industry? Okay, thank you. Both of you are pretty honest people. Okay, yeah, there's probably more people that are, and you're being humble today, and that's good. But we have to find ways to lead in the marketplace, and it's getting harder and harder to do that. What makes it so hard to lead today in the marketplace?
Change.
Okay, competition, change. What else?
Advertising cost.
I'm sorry?
Advertising cost.
Cost to advertise. Cost to market. Somebody said something else over here? He sneezed. Okay. Advertising is more costly than ever before. And it's more effective than ever before, right? Is more effective? What typically is happening with marketing and advertising today? Not only is it costing more, but what?
All looks the same.
It's all the same. It costs more, but it's less effective. But yet people keep investing in it. Why would we do that? Why? Yes.
It's what worked.
Yeah, it's what worked in the past. It's what we've known about. We've always used traditional advertising to market our businesses. Isn't that right? So today I want to talk about an alternative, viral marketing. And how many of you know what viral marketing is? Yes. Tell us, Leslie. Nice and loud. You raised your hand. She's like... This is Leslie from Employers Group, by the way. They're one of our partners here at SDA Network and a sponsor. Give them some appreciation just for doing that. Thank you, Leslie. Now you'll have to work for your participation.
Oh, that's okay.
Yes.
Viral marketing, the way I understand it, at least how it's been utilized in some of what we do, is a little bit more in depth in internet access and actually getting out ideas through the process of mass marketing in an internet type of role. So it's functioning where its massive development is reaching that many more people as opposed to
using the internet.
Exactly.
Right. And that's true. Viral marketing today is really associated primarily with internet-based marketing because it's a very inexpensive way to reach people, or at least it's less expensive. It used to be real inexpensive, but even that's getting more costly. But viral marketing, very simply, is word of mouth, right? I mean, if you had a store and you were selling cattle feed in the 1800s, and you had a couple of, ranchers who used your cattle feed, they would tell other ranchers. And that's viral marketing. It's as simple as that. So if we can learn to use word-of-mouth marketing, which is the most powerful marketing today, then we can have tremendous success at a much, much lower cost. We can actually launch new products very, very quickly. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how that's very important because product life cycles are shorter and shorter. And if you haven't changed your product line, you might want to be thinking about that. So if you don't adopt some kind of word-of-mouth marketing, some kind of viral marketing, what do you suppose might happen in your businesses?
Lose market share.
Thank you, Steve. You could. You could. You're certainly not going to thrust yourself forward or increase your position or become a leader. There's a couple people that are leaders or said they're leaders in the market, but most people said they're not leaders. How do you become a leader? Well, traditional marketing isn't going to do it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Viral marketing, viral strategy in your advertising, your marketing program is really not an option because traditional marketing is nearing an end. And I'm going to show that to you. I'm going to prove that to you in the next few minutes. okay, or else you're going to probably throw me out of here. So that's the first thing we're going to look at. The second thing we're going to see is that customers are intolerant of advertising. How many have TiVo or some kind of like, or some kind of way to, raise your hands high. Raise your hands high. Some kind, cable, what do they call it now? DVRs and stuff. Raise your hands high. Hey, come on, you're going to work. You came here, right? You're getting lunch. Most people, why do you have that?
Skip the commercials.
To skip the commercials. People are intolerant of advertising. They don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it anymore. So we're going to look at some ways of how we can create marketing messages that people are tolerant of. Not only tolerant of, but to actually look forward to getting. How many have seen those commercials and the commercial comes on and you're like, oh, wow, this is great, and you start tuning in? How many of that's happened to you? I don't want to say I'm weird. Does that happen? It doesn't happen very often anymore, but it does happen. So there's a way to use traditional marketing in a viral sense. And so the third thing we're going to look at is what I just commented on, is that product and service life cycles are shorter, right? They just don't last as long. How many have their cell phone with them today? Take out your cell phone. Take out your cell phone. That's right. You can take it out. Go ahead. Hold it in your hand. Now, let me ask you, why don't you tell the person next to you when you bought this cell phone? Tell them right now. Turn to them. They won't bite you. Tell them when you bought your cell phone. So what are we finding out? Now, how many bought their cell phone less than 6 months ago? Raise your hand. Raise your hand high. Look, it's insane. I go to the store to get a little cable for my cell phone, to plug into my, lighter because it broke. And they give me the big pitch. They want me to buy a new cell phone. And it's got this and instant messaging and this. And I'm like, I just figured out how to work this and I've had it for 2 years, I don't need a new cell phone. Product life cycles are getting shorter. And if that's not part of your strategy, holy cow, that could be a problem. So let's take a look at it. You know what? Traditional markets like this. I have a toy gun I was going to bring with me. My wife said, don't do that. The people will freak out. So traditional marketing is kind of like putting a gun to your head and pulling the trigger. It's suicide if you continue on that path. But we don't have to. That's the good thing about it. And you're here today. Here's some interesting statistics. Okay? 1/3 as effective as 10 years ago, advertising. And now who said that? Not Mark Deal. That's the American Advertising Federation. You're the federation. That's the advertising industry group. And even they say it's only 1/3 as effective. Right? Let's take a look. 37% is wasted, according to Advertising Age magazine. Now, understand, Advertising Age magazine is all about trying to get people to advertise more. But 37% is wasted. And the average person, this is an incredible statistic, over 2 million commercials in their lifetime. That's like watching non-stop commercials 7 days a week, 8 hours a day for 6 years. Okay? It's kind of like what our kids do. It's a little scary, right? So it just doesn't work anymore. People have learned to ignore marketing messages. We've trained them. How many have trained themselves to kind of ignore flipping pen? You go on the aircraft and you look on the airlines magazine and you don't look at all those commercials. Why don't people advertise in there? It's insane. And it's getting more and more expensive. So it pushes people away. It's interesting. Marketing and advertising has now gotten to the point where the more you advertise, the less people like you. Have you noticed that? You even see some of the commercials, you think, oh, I hate these guys. Every time a commercial is like, I hate these guys, right? I won't name any names. So marketing messages are intolerant because today, customers are far more skeptical, they're far more selective, they're far more cynical, they're far more savvy, they're smarter than ever before, and they simply, like this gentleman here, don't want to be sold. So what do we do? What is our next step? We're going to look at that, but there's another thing that's happening. Not only has traditional marketing fallen and is on the downswing, not only do people ignore advertising messages more, but the product life cycles are shorter. Let's take a look at this curve. Let's take a look at this graph. And everybody, if you're probably aware already, but there's a little package right there that has this graph in it. Don't ask me the page number, a couple pages in. But this is a typical life cycle curve. It's a typical bell-shaped curve, right? And over here we have the number of units sold. Well, you might say, I don't sell a product, Mark. I sell a service. Okay. The number of service units sold. The life of the product. And essentially you can see that as the life of the product in its early stages begins to grow, obviously the demand for the product and the units sold grow. That makes sense, right? But at some point, the product peaks up, like your cell phone that you just had in your hand, starting to fall off. Now let's take a look at what happens to the price curve here. The early adopters, the people who start off early, they kind of get in on the product when it's new, right? You know those people, they're the first ones to have the instant, did you see this cool thing? Look at this thing. And those are kind of the nerds, right? Maybe I fall in that category. Don't say that. I sometimes do fall in that category. Majority are right here. This is where the product is in its really mature phase. Selling at its peak at the top. And then, of course, as the product gets older, the life cycle grows on, and then the laggards become involved. And, of course, this is right from my friend Seth Godin. Seth's actually a friend of mine. I actually communicated with him by email the other day, and we talk time to time. And this is right out of his book. How many know Seth Godin or know of him, read his book? Yeah. He's probably the guy who really popularized viral marketing. I'm going to introduce you to some other resources today as well. And here's the value curve of the product. So obviously, the price of the product is quite high in the early stage. Just like, when that first cell phone comes out, or that Palm Pilot came out, they were quite expensive initially. And then as time went on, other people enter the market, other competitors enter, the price begins to fall. And then obviously, when the laggards become involved, now the product is falling off in popularity, and obviously the price falls. This makes sense, right? This makes sense. So where would you, if you are a marketer, knowing this, knowing that most of the people are right here, this is where the highest, where would you want to get involved? Somebody tell me. Not all at once.
At the very beginning.
Why not here? Why would you want to get involved right there?
You're already done.
It's ready to fall off. But is that what happens? What happens in reality?
You get marketing at the laggard side.
Yeah, when do most companies' products and services get involved into the... When do they introduce their product? They introduce it like right about over here or right about over here. What do they do that for? What do they do that for?
Competition.
Because they're busy knocking off somebody else's product.
They're busy knocking off someone else. They're looking at their competition. Laugh, but it's true, isn't it? How do people decide what products they're going to introduce? How do they decide how they're going to market those products? They look at the competition. But the reality is you're correct, sir. They need to be looking at this. Now, where do you suppose the most loyal customers exist? Here? Here? Where?
Far left,
Right here. These are the folks that are the early adopters. They're the innovators. And so this is what we're going to look. Now, it's very fearful. It's very risky for someone to get involved here. You say, hey, Mark, no one else is in there. It's an unproven product. It's an unproven marketplace. So we have to have a little more risk tolerance. I think Maury talked a little bit about this. See, if we're risk adverse, Maury, if we're risk adverse as managers, business owners, what happens to our relationships? Right? They begin to decline. Or we don't have the ability to create that connection. Right? So it's the same in marketing. So let's take a look now at what happens. And let's take a look at what we can do. Because, that's the reality. How do we change this, Mark? We have to stop interrupting customers. We have to stop talking at customers. We have to create a process where customers can talk to one another. Just like the feed distributor got the ranchers to talk with one another. How do we do that? We have to also commit to continual innovation. Right? Now, that doesn't mean coming out with the product you've always been selling, that red product you've always been selling. That doesn't mean coming out with that product in blue. Okay? That means looking at the marketplace and saying, what's changing? How do we get people to talk about this product or this service? And we're going to look at 10 ways to do it, and we're going to look at a 6-step approach to making it happen, and you're going to actually start it. You're going to practice it today. Imagine that. Okay, here we go. So we have to get people to we have to be willing to invest in the loyalists in our business. And the reality is, Malcolm Gladwell, who I think was really probably one of the inspirers, I know is one of the inspirers of Seth, because I've talked to him about it. And he was on our radio show several times, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I guess, Matt, right? And Malcolm Gladwell wrote the book. How many read the book, The Tipping Point? And he talked about how the marketer really isn't at the center of a marketing campaign, or should not be. The actual customer needs to be at the center of the campaign. But how do we do it? How do we do it? We're going to take a look at it. But let's first look at the definition of viral marketing. Flip with me. It's really simple. This is really the process of creating loyal supporters that enthusiastically recommend your brand to others. That could be you as a person, that could be your product, that could be your service, that could be your company, whatever it is. Your concept, your idea, your brand defines you. So how do we get people to enthusiastically recommend our brand to other people? Let's take a look at the 10 ways to do it, the 10 traits. Here they are, very quickly. Targeting. Okay, we have to actually be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. Most people enter the marketplace, they say, I want to find the part of the market where there's the most people and get in, make a quick hit, get my cash, and get on out. It doesn't work that way anymore. Product cycles move too fast. People are far too loyal. They change. They change very slowly if they're loyal to somebody. And so we have to find an area of the marketplace that is really well defined and well suited for our product or service. Or else we need to change our product or service so it's well suited for the market. You see, most marketing today is done backwards. People create the product first. Oh, people should love this. It's a black clicker. Rather than looking at the marketplace and saying, what does the marketplace really need? And even when they do that, they do focus groups that, basically tells them what they want to know. So how do we engage the customer and really find out where's there a gap in the market? Right? Identifying the gap in the marketplace. Jay Abraham, my friend Jay Abraham, you know Jay Abraham, yes? Jay Abraham, one of brilliant guys, innovators in marketing early on, talks about identifying the gap in the marketplace. This is the area where there's a small part of the market where there's loyal people who don't have the product or service they need. And it's all around us. It's when you go to the airport and you have to wait online. Like, you're like, it's like, there's an opportunity there. Why hasn't somebody done something about this? Targeting. Secondly, quickly, we'll go through these quickly. We have to get permission. Again, Seth, his earliest book, Permission Marketing, talks about this. We have to get permission to contact and market people. They're going to get upset, very angry, if we start blasting them with advertising and marketing messages. That's going to work against us. This is what I mean when I say sometimes the more marketing people do, the more it pushes people away. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? Okay? So we have to get their permission. We have to figure out how to do that. Secondly, we have to integrate the marketing into the product so that the more marketing we do, or I should say, the more products people buy or services people buy, the more of the marketing message they receive. It needs to be personalized because today people place a high value on their specific needs. Again, community, especially people under the age of 40 today. In the 25 to 35 age range, community is very, very important. We find this time and time and time again in marketing campaigns we do for companies. We need to figure out how to make it transferable. It's got to easily be transferred from one person to another in a very smooth way. Okay? We'll look at that. We'll also look at how to create an experience. I'm going to show you some really cool products and services that have been developed that are really kind of simple, that are just wrapped around an experience. You know, today people have very little bit of what?
Attention.
A little bit of attention, yes, and a little bit of
Time.
both. People don't have as much time. I mean, how many have? I have more time than I need. Raise your hand. I'm willing to give some to someone. Okay? If you need some, raise your hand. No. Yeah, we don't have time. And people are really, seeking to understand by a very quick experience. If you give them an experience and they understand it, they'll buy in easier rather than trying to have to read and figure it out. There's companies, we'll look at some companies, we'll look at organizations that actually use their customers to co-create the product. We'll look at a few examples of that. And it's great to have a symbiotic relationship where we can find partners. For example, there's folks in this room that my whole organization, SBA Network, is built around symbiosis. It's built around having a relationship with Maury's firm and the Dogs of Design, Max's company, and now Corey and Diana at Ink Printing, and Employers Group. And in this way, we mix our spheres of influence. This is an example of what we have these 50, 60 people here today of symbiosis in action. I guarantee people will walk out of here today with profitable relationships with someone. It might not even be me. But you see, this is the kind of, this is one way that we can create a viral marketing structure. Also, Max is going to come up and talk to us a little later about design and how we can just, through designing our product, service, or marketing campaign, just in the design alone, we can create the opportunity for word-of-mouth marketing. So let's look at the first one, targeted, if you would.
Marge, I had a lot of calls about you. Customers love your no-pressure approach.
Well, like we say, the right house for the right person.
Listen, it's time I let you in on a little secret, Marge. The right house is the house that's for sale. The right person is anyone.
But all I did was tell the truth.
Of course you did, but there's the truth and the truth. Let me show you.
It's awfully small.
I'd say it's awfully cozy.
That's dilapidated.
Rustic.
That house is on fire.
Motivated seller.
That's a beauty.
Forget about that house. That's the murder house.
Oh, I remember. Mrs. Astor was very lucky.
Well, no one expects you to sell that house, but you better sell something. Because cubicles are for closers, Marge. Anybody who doesn't sell a house their first week gets fired. I probably should have mentioned that earlier.
Okay. You could almost use that in your presentation, couldn't you, Maury, right? But this is what happens today. We're so used to traditional marketing where we take our product and we jam it down someone's throat. Rather than saying, this product probably isn't for everyone. Let's find out what's happening in the marketplace. How many of you have done market research? Now, be honest. How many of you have engaged in market research recently? Thank you, both of you. This is true. We place a low value on research. Well, when we engage a client, I will tell you, a lot of times, they don't hire us. They won't hire us. Because we tell them, listen, we're going to do some pretty significant, oh, don't worry, we know. Well, we want to look at the, oh, don't worry, we know. I said, what sort of research have you done? Oh, we've been doing this 25 years. Yeah, you might have been doing it 25 years, but unfortunately, the customer you're selling to is different and new. So targeting is absolutely critical that we actually, and I'm talking about, find the right age group, and find the right psychographics, and look at the lifestyles. We need to go beyond that. We need to really understand what makes that customer unhappy. What frustrates your customers? I want to talk to you in our little discussion that you're going to have with the people at your table in a little bit. You're going to talk about what do you think frustrates some of your customers? Well, that's a good way to start targeting. That will give you the gap, right? So targeting is absolutely critical. Bigger fish, smaller pond. We need to actually market to fewer people. I mean, one of the main things we do, we go to an organization, we go, okay, these are the people you're marketing to. Okay, well, nix these. Let's just focus on these ones here. They're like, what are you, insane? That's like the littlest part of the marketplace. Perfect. It's also the highest propensity to buy. It's also the highest intent to buy. It's also the least happy people, and it's the biggest gap in your market. And you're ignoring it. You're not alone, don't worry. You need to figure out a way to become the only solution. You know, everyone's focused on being a better solution. We're better than the competition. There's 10 things we do better than them. Yeah, big deal. They'll figure that out and they'll beat you tomorrow. Or somebody else with more money will come along and make themselves even better. Not the better solution. How do you become the only solution? How do you create your product, service, and marketing so that no one else could do it? I'm going to show you some examples. Here's one here. What kind of car is that? Well, we need some under 30 people in the room to tell us. Thank you. You're thinking about your sons and daughters, right? How has Scion targeted themselves? Somebody tell me. Nice and loud, Michelle. A box on wheels. How have they targeted? Corey, tell us. You're, in the age group.
I don't have any idea.
Anybody? Matt, yes. Me? Youth, yes.
The young people perceive this as a cool deal.
Thank you. Actually, you have somebody that works.
They sell all kinds of goodies to it.
And they do that. How many different types of Scions are there? Yeah, but when you look at them on the road, there's like hundreds, thousands. Talk about personalization. Holy cow.
So they can make a statement.
And that's what it's all about. It's about experience. It's about community. So when the folks at Scion figured out how to do this, they didn't do focus groups. They actually went out and gave cars to people. And you know what? Based on the feedback, they changed the whole car around. The first car they gave them on the first day is completely different than this vehicle that you see in front of you that looks like sort of a space-age milk truck. It does. Milk truck with thrusters. Hey, let me ask you this. You guys were around in the 80s, most of you. Where did you buy your juice at? You know, where'd you buy your... In the
Supermarket.
80s? Yeah, supermarket, yeah.
Same with water, I got it out of the tap.
Yeah. So you think about this, Jamba Juice revolutionized this whole industry. They created this industry. Of course, back then it was called Juice Club. It was just 5 people. They got together and they, were focused on creating something healthy. I think they were up in San Luis Obispo or something like that. And so they created this little juice bar, and then someone else wanted to start one, and so they had a little club, and they called it Juice Club. Talk about symbiosis. Well, out of that came, I don't know who bought it. Somebody bought them. You know about who bought them at? Somebody bought these guys for like $1 billion or something. And now, of course, there's a juice store, Jamba Juice or Robex or somebody on every corner. I know, my wife drinks them, obviously, as you can see. I like eating, chicken teriyaki myself. But, she gobbles them up. The Food Network, and there's, television today is probably is probably in its decline. The only network television people watch today, maybe flip on the news and that's it. It's all highly targeted channels. The food channel, there's a fishing channel. It's unbelievable. A fishing channel? There's the golf channel, biography. There's like 5 different discoveries, high impact. They're all highly targeted. And all profitable, by the way. Thank you, Ted Turner. And of course, does anybody know who Schindler is? If you read Seth's book, you should. Yeah. Yeah, one of the largest manufacturers.
But what they did, what Schindler did is figured out how to create an elevator that was specifically targeted to high-rise buildings. And it's pretty cool because you walk up to the lobby and you go to, you've probably used it. You've been to New York, you've gone to some of the big buildings and stuff. Even here in LA. And you go there and you push the floor that you want, and then you sort of stick, and it's got this big panel you just put in your floor, and you sort of stand back. And there's like a bank of 5 or 6 elevators. And then an elevator almost immediately comes down and rushes you to your floor. And there's no 50 people waiting for elevators going, you know? Not anymore. Because they created the product to suit the marketplace. Do you see what I'm saying here? Do you understand? So this can be done in any industry. The second area is to get permission. Obviously, we need to get people's permission to market to them. We need, it's about obtaining the privilege of marketing want to be marketed to. Not who we think need our product. They want to be marketed to. Okay? So think about Plaxo. Anybody know who Plaxo is? Matthew, what's Plaxo? Oh, tell us. What's Plaxo? So, tell us. Yes.
Oh,
You're the opera singer, so everybody will hear what you have to say.
Plotso is a tool, means for getting your email linked with everybody else who has email.
Mm-hmm.
So if you use a product like Outlook and you put Plotso on top of it, you have a way of knowing who Plotso members are, and it'll feed you information like their birth dates and other kinds of pieces of information that can be useful for anything you want to do.
Yeah, and it actually sends messages to people. I mean, people in this room probably receive messages from Plaxo. You might not know that. It just says, Mark Dio wants to update your information. Please update. You've seen this, right? Well, they're getting permission. Obviously, if you fill out your information in there, you've just given this person permission to contact you. Isn't that right? So think about how we could do that, how you could do that in your business. It works for any business, frankly. Right? So 15 million members, obviously get permission to contact these folks. Here's a good one, Mountain Dew. This is because you might say, oh yeah, well that's easy to do on the internet, Mark. But any company can do this. Mountain Dew. Now Mountain Dew, I mean, when was the last time you drank a Mountain Dew? When I was 16, I think, right? They kind of have been in the decline, but a while back they tried to revive themselves. And this actually revived the company for a time, but they continue to make the same mistakes they've always been making. And I don't even know if they're around anymore. But in the 90s, they, when pagers were popular, they offered a text pager free to people who would buy, like a 6-pack or something like that, a Mountain Dew, or several 6-packs, I think. And it allowed them, the pager literally gave them permission to communicate with this person. So, I mean, the point isn't Mountain Dew, the point is think about your business. What can you do to give people, or to get people's permission in a small way? Even a small number of people is incredibly powerful. Let's take a look at how to integrate, and then we'll work on this. Build the marketing into the product, as I said. Here's a company, over 12 million subscribers. See if you can guess who this is. 12 million, it's probably written on your thing, right? 12 million subscribers in the first 18 months, Hotmail, right? And now now Tommy Bahama uses kind of a similar approach. The product themselves is marketing the company. Just wearing a Tommy Bahama shirt tells people, oh, he's got a Tommy Bahama shirt on. So the product itself is so distinctive that the message is spread by word of mouth alone. Tommy Bahama does very, very small amount of advertising in Hotmail. Now, I think they're owned by MSN now, so that's a misnomer, but they did no advertising. How was the product built into, how was the message built into the product, you remember?
Gave you a sign-up link at the bottom of each email.
Yeah, you put a little sign up on the bottom. So when you got a Hotmail message, you could sign up yourself. The marketing was right in the product. How can you do that with your company? How do you do that with your company? Think about it. Personalization. MySpace probably is the biggest story today. Look at this, 67 million subscribers. 40 million now? 140 now? Thank you. There's my statistics guy. So that means that since I got this stat, which was probably a year or two ago, Matt, it's almost doubled. That's amazing. And I mean, who needed another online place that people could talk? There were hundreds, there were thousands of them. Thousands. MySpace made a little bit of a twist to create personalization like no one else. And again, it started off with young people, but you know, now the over 40 crowd, there's a whole way to personalize the over 40 crowd on MySpace. They've now expanded the market, but they started little tiny target, real personalized, symbiosis, a way to spread the message, integrating the product, the marketing into the product. You see what I'm saying here? Here's a good one. Pepsi. I don't know if you heard about this, but you know, Pepsi is famous for their Super Bowl commercials, and this year, I guess they weren't spending enough money, so they had to spend more. Shut up. $100,000 jewel-encrusted can of Pepsi to celebrate their new campaign. And here's what the campaign was. Let's take a look at it, Matt. So essentially what you have here with this Pepsi deal, this Pepsi campaign, is different cans that are geared towards different marketplaces. Here's one is geared towards the amusement park, sort of thrill seeker. Meet the toaster, hang out. Flip to another one, Matthew. Here's another one geared towards the racing. So every can's different. It's insane. But this has now created a tremendous amount of conversation with people, especially under 40. By the way, who has customers, whose ultimate customers are under 40? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Your ultimate customers are under 40. Raise your hand. Think about it. You might not even know the age of your customers, right? Yeah, a whole bunch of us. And so, obviously, our viral campaign has to match the marketplace. We have to understand our customers, and it has to match the marketplace. Community is another area that is critical. You know, have you seen the Lance Armstrong? How many of you have a Lance Armstrong band or had one in the past? Yeah, a lot of people. There's a lot of controversy over those, I guess, now. But nevertheless, certainly this made a statement. What was the statement, by the way? Yeah. So talk about community. What a way. I mean, think about if you could use something like this. I'm not saying go out and create, well, he told us in a seminar to create farm bands. I'm not saying that. But what symbol could you create that would be an example of community to get people to sort of buy into what you stand for? More than 10 million people were wearing this Lance Armstrong bracelet. 10 million people. It's incredible. I don't know what they did with all the money, but... Anybody ever see a Tupperware commercial? You did? Really? Oh, yeah, that's right. I guess they do. But they've spent a heck of a lot more time and effort, not around commercials, but around doing what? Tupperware what? Tupperware parties. They've been going on for years. That's viral marketing. So this isn't something that is, like, new, only for the young folks, only on the internet. That's been around for years. We need to think this way. Yes, Jeff?
In terms of community, the Harley Owners Group was probably the key strategy to save Harley Davidson from blowing up.
Tremendous example. Fabulous example. Because obviously, you know, it's not so much about the motorcycle itself. It's more about hanging out with the Harley folks and talking about the Harleys and stuff. Although they make pretty good bikes now, right? They got the money. They got the money to do it now, right? So yeah, transferability. Obviously, we have to create evangelists that can easily transfer our message. I say evangelists because this is far more important that we give people the ability and equip them with the tools to communicate. So YouTube, here's another web-based kind of format, but YouTube has really changed the way we look at video programming on the internet. And it really has started a revolution where by now, you don't just need to go to YouTube. YouTube is on every website or every web interface that we see because it's become the host for almost all video media on the internet. People don't need video servers anymore. They don't. They just they don't even need to stream it. They just host it at YouTube. And as long as you don't mind the little YouTube in the corner, and I think there's a way for him to do it now, Matt, without that, right? Sort of for a fee or something. I don't know. Anyway, but nevertheless, what a tremendous way to spread the message. And I guarantee you, YouTube has never spent a dime on advertising. Not a dime. Or even traditional marketing. They probably don't even have a brochure. I'll bet you they don't have a brochure. I don't know. Maybe you can check that out, Rick. YouTube got me brochures. I'll bet you they don't. I'll bet you they don't. Now, here is a flop movie, I think. Anybody see the Rocky Rocky movie? Now, was it any good? It was pretty good? I'm not big on Rocky, but good, okay. Well, now, here's a pretty interesting thing what they did with this Rocky movie. They actually they created themed toolbars and themed skins and themed wallpaper, screensavers with Rocky on it. Because Rocky is Rocky. He's viral himself. I mean, he's obviously a way to spread the message. So they actually even had an inbox notifier which played the movie's theme song. Right? We should have had Rocky theme song going here, right? Experiential marketing. I talked about that we have to create an experience for our customers. Who other than Starbucks has done that? I mean, why would you? I remember my mom used to have chock full of nuts, right? Or like Maxwell House. It was like a coffee. It was like a nickel. People spend like $8 for a coffee. I'll have the macchiato espresso with the, geez, what? It's like, but it's not really so much about the coffee. It's a lot about the experience of people hanging out and talking. And now, of course, they use all the senses. They have hear music, alignment with hear music. So they have CDs and play tunes there. And people, oh, I like that. Yeah, you got that CD? Oh, yeah, here it is. And so they're using nearly taste, touch, smell. They've created an experience for people. And of course, now everyone's copying them and all that. And that's what happens. That's why we have to keep changing our product. Because by the time we build our product up and it begins to grow, remember that curve? We better come up with a new one. We better put some pretty cool little hitches on this product. Better be geared to the market. Obviously, their stock's risen 5,000%. So I guess that's pretty successful, right? How about this one? Here's a good one. Where could you experience being a combat pilot? A combat pilot. Here's this one for you, Mike. You'd love this. A combat pilot, even if you've never flown an airplane in your life, right? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. It's called Air Combat USA. Anybody familiar with it? Anybody go Air Combat? Did you take it?
No, not yet.
Huh? Check it out.
Hey, what's going on? We're out here in Fullerton, California today, Air Combat USA, and we're going to be taking these birds up for a little dogfight over the Pacific. You look a little nervous, Lance. What's going on?
I'm doing all right. I'm pretty confident. I'm stoked about these light attack aircraft. They pull the same G's as an F-16.
He knows it turns to fly.
Got this little present for him. It's a little barf bag just in case he gets a little nervous. So go ahead and pack that in your back pocket.
Here you are. Never flown a plane in your life. You go down to Fullerton. Anybody done this? Ever done this? Wow. That's pretty cool. Go check it out. How many guys are looking at this going like, I think I'd like to do this. You just got no experience at all. You just go down there, you pay your, I don't know, $200 or whatever it is. I'm sure it's a good little fee. And then you just, they sit you in this plane, and you're with a training pilot the whole time. One of these, ex-Vietnam guys, or I guess ex-Vietnam guys are like dead now, right? Or, Gulf War guys, huh? Desert Storm guys, yeah. And you're with one of these guys, and he tells you, he says,
you can't crash this plane. No matter what, and you got a little stick. It's like a video game. And you chase somebody, you know, and then when you hit them, it's got little lasers. You hit them, and smoke comes out. Have you done this, Steve? You're a pilot. No. Pretty cool, though, huh? I think he's going to run off, and I'm pretty sure. They've created an experience. And their business went from like it was just some dudes. It was just some of these, you know, ex-military dudes with like nothing to do, you know, down at the airport and said, hey, what if we did this? And here they are, and their business gone like this. And they're all over the world now. They have like 20, 25 different locations all over the country, all over the world. So this has grown like this. Yeah, Steve's getting ready to leave. Where is it again? How about getting, who do you think's gotten their customers to create their own product? Can you think of a company? It's right there on the page, right? Yeah. And now, of course, Dell is doing it and all that. And you'll see other companies. But Gateway started this whole thing. You create your own product. I'm not saying it was a good product or a bad product. I mean, frankly, the product was not nearly as good as some of the other computer products on the market in that day. It was clearly not as superior. But it was the personalization and the co-creation that allowed people to satisfy their need for personalization and empowerment. Kind of ties in with what Maury was talking about, doesn't it, Maury? That you know, giving people their personal space is very important today. That we cannot separate. We cannot have this balanced life as this is work and this is home. It's all blended. And we need to address these psychological, emotional issues with people. And we need to do it in our marketing. We need to do it with our product. And we allow the need for recognition and diversity by doing it. So think about how can you get your customers to co-create the product. One of the things, and we have a couple of our clients here, and so you guys know that one of the things that we do with our clients is we figure out a way to get customers to co-create so there's some customization and personalization in the product. How can you do it? I have a friend who owns a company called Home Exchange. Anybody know Home Exchange? Yeah, Rochelle, of course you know, because your friend is your husband, who's my friend's friend. We play golf together. Ed, what's his name? Ed Cushins. Ed Cushins. Well, it's a little company, and you know, Ed was figuring out a way to promote his company, and it's called Home Exchange. And very simply, you exchange homes with people. You go on the internet to his website, homeexchange.com. Go check it out. Tell him I sent you, and you go and say, I have this house, and this is a picture of it, and this is how many rooms, and all this stuff. Here's its location, and I want to trade. And I want to go to Santiago, Chile, and spend a weekend there, or a week there. I guess a week there would be realistic. And then somebody from Santiago, Chile will go, oh, okay, I'll trade with you. Here's my house. Here's a picture of it. Here's what it is. It's a pretty interesting product. And so, you know, we're talking, I play golf with Ed nearly every week, and we were chatting about this a couple of years ago. And I said, you know, Ed, you should really get out there and do a little PR with people. And I you know, gave him a little coaching, a little help. And he went out and created, you know, some very targeted publications and media to go after. And he started, you know, communicating, just telling them what he did. Well, one day, and of course that took a life of its own, Sony Pictures contacted him. And Max will show you kind of how we do this, and he's going to give you some demonstrations. But it took a life of its own, and Sony Pictures said, would you like, we'd like to do a movie about your company. And it was called The Holiday. Did anybody see The Holiday? Real popular movie. Yeah, real big one. Anyway, it had, oh, that was a hit, huh? Woo! It had Jack Black and, help me out here, Matthew. Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow. Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz, Jack Black, Jude Law, and this chick here, whoever she is. Thank you. I'm glad she's not here. Some big stars. And of course, the guy's business like tripled when this movie came out, even though none of you saw it. So, bottom line is, you got the movie here? Oh, okay. Bottom line is, help me out here, Matt. Bottom line is, if you could figure out a way to create symbiosis with another company, another organization, another product, you know, in doing it in this non-promiscuous way, without pushing, you're going to gain great ground. I want to talk a little bit about design. I'm going to invite Max to come up here. Let's get Max that mic. But anybody ever buy a B&O, Bang & Olufsen? You have a Bang & Olufsen? Oh, you would, Nancy. Now, why do you suppose you'd buy a Bang & Olufsen? Because of the electronics and the specifications, the fancy sound. What does the Bang & Olufsen have that no one else has, Nancy? Yeah. This is their CD changer. I mean, Bang & Olufsen products look like no one else's product. And this is a company, by the way, who actually, I know these guys very well, and they have really used viral marketing since day one. So the product, the marketing is in the product just by the way it's designed, the style of the product. How about OXO? Anybody use an OXO? I'm getting old, so I need the big handle. The design of the OXO product has set them apart in the entire marketplace. There's no one that has instrumentation like this for kitchen utensils. And it's designed as like rubber, it's easy to grab, it's easy to use. And just the design of the product is what makes it. I mean, a potato peeler is a potato peeler, let's face it. It's hard to make that fancy. So they design the product, and that's what makes it stand out. Max, why don't you come on up and talk to us about a couple of other campaigns that we've done.
Anyone see the LA Times about 3 weeks ago? Moto Art was on the front page of it. They're a client of mine. They make furniture out of old recycled airline parts. How the hell would you ever make money doing that? Closer? I met these guys about 5 years ago. There were a couple of scruffy guys working out of a garage, and they had a blade that was in my photo studio to get a photograph of it. I thought it was very cool. And I gave them a quote on how to produce their corporate identity and do all their stuff. When they stopped laughing, then I said, how much is your blade? And then when I stopped laughing, we shook hands and decided it'd be fun to go in business together and just trade off on the deal. So we bartered a system of doing advertising by doing their logo, their corporate identity, and their ad campaign. One problem with the ad campaign, no money to put any ads in anywhere. So we made up a press kit, which was an accidental viral marketing campaign, I guess, which I didn't even know I had done. Yeah. And we sent it out to all the major publications such as Maxim Magazine, Playboy, every magazine you think of would be interested in this oddball type of furniture, very high-end, very expensive, and very unique. So here's a little look at the furniture. As you can see, it's really unique. This is one of the pieces that's in my house now that I fell in love with. It's an old blade that they just off the plane that they buffed out, made near finish, made it look gorgeous, mounted onto a stand. So product-wise, kind of unique. It's really easy. Furniture for entryways, different type of application. Maxim Magazine gave them a call, said, hey, can you bring some pieces over to New York? They photographed it with some nice ladies. Yes. Thank you. And we'll write an article on them. These 2 pages, they cost $170,000 a piece. We would have paid for them and bought the advertisement. They handed it to them basically. They were willing to send out the product and show it in their publication. The only reason Maxim Magazine knew about it was because we hit it so hard with the press kits, did beautiful photography, made a website, and prepped them visually, but no money, no ads.
Now, I just want to stress the key is the marketing was in the product itself. Because when people saw the product, the way the product was designed, people were like, this is cool.
Yeah, I had it over that campaign and had 3 pieces. I was sold by Libby.
Yeah.
People, if they saw it, they would dig it. So from here we thought, wow, that was great. What a great break. Hopefully something happens. Well, it happened. It just kept going and going and going.
And ended up.
In life it's hard to get what you want to. You're flying high and they step all over you. It's junk, it's art. You're finding all their planes tearing apart. It's junk, it's art. You're finding all their planes tearing apart. And tearing apart.
Okay.
And they still have never spent a dime to today on an ad ever. We've never put any money other than our website and media kits.
Never spent a dime. Never spent.
had a mailing list of over 7,000, which we hit constantly, and people are buyers regular. Tom Cruise is a client, and I'm not going to say that, but that's one of their clients.
Oh, Tom, come on in.
So lots of Hollywood, American Idol lobbies, all lined with no work. So lots of stuff. Running on GOs in the airports, you would know that. They got no work for insurance.
Now you might say that, well, yeah, that's easy when you have a product that looks that cool, that's different. However, you can create, with the right design, viral aspects in your product to get people to talk about it. Because remember, we're talking about word-of-mouth marketing. Show us that.
A good example, Baptec Motorsports. Anyone in off-road might have heard of them, the rest of you might have. Who the hell is that?
Are they here? Anybody from Baptec?
No, some of the industry guys are here. So they make this beautiful looking product, which I wouldn't put in my living room. And I didn't barter with, by the way. So they make a product that's pretty much a Me Too product. Suspension for cars, basically lifts up trucks, put bigger wheels off, go off-roading. Not a big budget to start advertising. There was already a dominant market share taken by Rancho Suspension, so it was kind of a market that was already had been done. They wanted to get in. They were a small manufacturer, good quality stuff. So they're like, how do we get exposure? How do we make ourselves look different? What they did is they sponsored race trucks. We went back to the backside, found guys who built trucks, high-end race trucks. Actually, not even the components they're selling are on the trucks, but the idea that people would receive from the race trucks was trickle down into the product, thinking that this is the high-end race quality equipment. So the word is spread backwards from the racing industry back to the consumer. So consumers always perceive Baptec as a high-end race product, even though the product is totally different from the race product to the final product. They did a great website, thanks to me.
He's modest, Max, very modest.
And then they have just wonderful literature, and they did do a small ad campaign eventually too, so we do back up with ads now. The other thing that they hit successfully was they did what they call Project Trust, which is people will put trucks together, Ford gives them away for $1. If you promote the truck and put things on it, they'll let you promote it within SEMA organizations, different automotive organizations, and it travels around and shows. So what they did there, they did a bunch of these, and as you can see, they got almost every magazine in the industry covered their product, free advertising, and then the publications, you write pages and pages and pages. So they've been in the market with me for about 5 years and just constantly expanding, mostly due to word of mouth and the perceived value of higher, race quality.
Yeah, and the design of the product.
Yeah, and they make the design good quality.
Little different look to the design. Okay, Matt's going to do his whole thing. But anyway, the important thing that I wanted to stress, I wanted Max to come up. Thank you, Max. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about some of the programs. It's not so much to pitch us. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to let you see that this can be done with any product. I mean, you're talking about suspension for cars, truck suspension. I mean, if you could design the product so differently for truck suspension products to get that kind of press without hiring a PR firm, without doing any advertising or traditional public relations, that's a pretty powerful approach. That's my goal here in showing you that. Now, obviously, non-traditional advertising is used in a couple of different media. Why don't you come up, Matthew? I just want to give Matthew a chance to talk with you about this. You can use that yourself or not.
I know we're going to hear saw this movie. It set a new record last weekend for the strongest opening of any film in the history of March. It was $70 million that this movie grossed in its first weekend. Movie 300. It's based off a comic book, but not a comic book anybody ever heard of. It's not Spider-Man, it's not Superman, it's not a big name anybody actually knew anything about. It's a small niche comic book that was written and done by an artist that was known for reviving Batman, Frank Miller. And what he did is he took this story of 300 Spartan soldiers that were in a battle with 1 million Persian soldiers in a mid-battle, talking about how these 300 men were able to fight off a horde of 1 million. So that's basically the plot. It's not a fantastic idea about a guy who can fly. It's not a guy who has magical powers. It's just 300 soldiers. It was filmed in a very cool way. But they made this movie, and nobody ever really heard of it. So what they did, they went out and they found a market of comic book fans. They actually went to the big comic book convention that happens in San Diego every year. They made a big splash at this comic book convention. That's where they really focused their initial efforts. They had panels set up, they had the director there, actors. There's no big stars in the movie. Anybody ever heard of it. I hadn't heard of anybody in this movie. And they went down to this comic book convention. Also, they started getting a lot of coverage. from all the comic book magazines that are out there, from all the websites that are focused on comic books, from all the websites that are focused on cool pop culture elements. So they went down and they started getting some pickups on the internet of people that were actually interested in this kind of thing. Then what they did was they found a way to actually tie their product in, this movie, with a website that actually matched their demographic. They went out, they went to the MySpace website, they took people actually made the website, and before this movie, MySpace used to have a limit where you could upload 12 pictures of yourself, and that was the max they allowed you to store. Well, 300 being 300, they went out to the people at MySpace and said, you know what, we're going to pay for you to expand your photo storage, instead of just having 12 pictures, to allow people to upload 300 pictures instead. And by doing that, everywhere on the MySpace website where you're able to upload pictures and reviewing pictures, they have a little 300 logo for the movie that actually appears right there. They say, you know, build your army with your photos is sort of their tie-in. And they actually went, they paid for this expansion, and what that led to is people started clicking on all these little things that said 300 all over the place. And what that meant was that 8 million people from the MySpace website viewed the trailer for this movie before it opened. And people with tracking services, they expected it to open strong, but they had no idea how big it would be, and wound up setting a new record for a March opening. It was $70 million in its opening weekend. That's probably one of the most successful movies, the first blockbuster of the year, and they'll probably find a way to make all kinds of sequels out of it now, but they'll find other bizarre comic books done by Frank Miller, and I think they're going to keep making.
So here's the deal. And you could do it with auto parts, and you could do it with coffee, you could do it with movies, you could do it, my buddy did it. Thank you. My buddy did it with, you know, his little website, homeexchange.com deal. It turned into a multi-million-dollar deal. And you can do it with your business. And that, by the way, is exactly what you're going to do right now. Flip the page.
We got some time before lunch. Oh, by the way, here's how the Toronto Zoo did it. I thought this was a cool one. Let me just give you a quick one of this. Check this out. The Toronto Zoo had a exhibit for Madagascar hissing bugs. You know what a Madagascar hissing bug is? Yeah. They're huge, right? They're disgusting. How do you promote an exhibit? I mean, we're not talking like cute little, koala bears here. We're talking disgusting bugs. Here's how they promoted it. This was their viral campaign.
You like the spin I put on it? Mad skills. That's what I'm saying. I want to miss this, man. You really got to go. Oh, being asked to be an exhibit is a big deal for me. I suppose. Hey, it's not like I'm never coming back. I don't know. A guy like you goes to the big city, gets a taste of the nightlife, makes new friends. It can change a guy. You know what they say? You can take the bug out of Africa. But you can't take Africa out of the bug. Stereo. Come on, one last game. No, I'll miss my flight. I gotta go.
Bummer, eh?
Sorry?
Their luggage. It's lost, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm starting a new job as an exhibit at the Toronto Zoo. I moved all the way from Madagascar for it. Packed everything I owned.
No kidding.
All my outfits are in there. All I've got is shoes and a pocket full of candy.
You know what they say? Always carry on the important stuff, right?
Oh, a day late and $1 short, my friend.
Rookie mistake. Anyway, good luck. I'm off to the hotel while the airport tracks it down.
Hey, me too. You want to split a cab?
Going east?
Right on.
Let's go.
I like you, Jerry. Hello? I don't mean to be a pest, but do you have any non-allergenic quilts? Yes, I'm allergic to down feathers, and I need to have a good sleep. Hang on. Come in.
The airport found your luggage, sir.
Oh, thank goodness. Can you leave it on the bed? All right, tip. Sorry. I'm flat out right now. Can I get you on the way out?
No problem, sir.
Sorry about that. Can you arrange for a taxi for me tomorrow morning, please? To the zoo. I'm an exhibit. Oh, you should come. Maybe I can get your name on the list or something. Was it tough to leave? Yes, it was. Do I miss my family? Absolutely. But for me, it was worth it to be part of such a great exhibit. I mean, when else do you get the opportunity to work with so many talented bugs?
What is it exactly that you do?
Oh, I hiss.
Do you think you could hiss for us now?
I think the zoo would prefer that I save that for the exhibit. That was free.
So, this is a very traditional product. This is traditional advertising. You can run this as a television commercial, but it has a viral nature to it because it's not pushy. It's not, you're not jamming it down your throat. It's very targeted. There's a personality here. You see what I'm talking about here? Obviously, this can be applied even in even in non-traditional markets. Or even in traditional markets. Here's the steps. You'll notice each one of these have some type of medium. There's some way that somebody is carrying this message. That's called the medium. Okay? You'll notice that there are sneezers to these messages. These are people who are loyalists. These are people who, will sneeze onto someone else. We've got a client here, sitting here right here, that we're actually creating a campaign for, and his business has certain type of engineers that are very influential in the process of selling his product or service. And if we could figure out how to get them to sneeze on other engineers, that's going to spread the message. See, it's word of mouth marketing. Word of mouth marketing. This is straight out of Seth Godin's book, The Idea of Virus. He says, build a hive. Build a hive. That's a group of people that are going to talk about this, that you could sort of use to spread the message. Give them tools to spread it. Some sneezing tools. Obviously, you saw some tools in here that people can use to spread the message, right? Ensure that the message has a velocity, because if the message isn't being spread and doesn't have a high velocity, not many people are going to find out about it. And so, a lot of these campaigns, there's no guarantee, and sometimes you have to tinker with them. So you need someone to actually commit themselves to tinkering. Well, we're not getting velocity. The news isn't being spread. The information isn't. So we have to change the message. Or maybe we have to find some new sneezers, right? And then figure out a way to make it smooth. Because if the message is too promiscuous, if you're too pushy, if you're too salesy with this message, it's going to have the opposite effect. A viral campaign done wrong or done badly actually has the opposite effect. So there's some risk here. Okay? So let's take a look at the next page. Flip to the next page. Here's your homework. Now, you're going to eat lunch in a bit, so don't worry. I am going to feed you. That's okay. But in the meantime, I want you to think about your company. I want you to think about your product, your service. So flip to the next page. Pick up a pen. Pick up a pen. When you think of those viral traits, and I'm going to put them back here. Matthew, would you go back and get the 10 viral traits up? When you think of those 10 viral traits, Matt's going to get them up here. You might want to go to the, So flip back to, I think, the third page. Third or fourth page? No, it's just longer than that. Flip back to this page here. Let me steer this one down. This page here that has all of the traits up there on it. This one here. Looks like this. Looks like that. Oh, there it is. It's about a third through. Okay? Which of these traits stands out to you? Which one of these traits? Oh, I can target my market a little bit more. I don't want to know what you're doing now. Who cares? You came here to learn how to do something different. Like Maury said, if we're successful people, then we're going to commit ourselves to changing, giving some things up. We're going to give up the way we used to do it and look at a new way and try it. Maybe it won't work. Maybe you'll go back to your old way. But if you don't try, you'll never know. How will you get permission? How will you integrate the marketing into your product? Just circle the one that for you might be the one that you want to focus on. Just pick one or two today. How could you personalize the message or personalize your product? How might you build community? Or maybe there is a community that you could sort of take advantage of. How will you make it transferable? How will you create an experience? Maybe there's a way that you can get your customers to co-create a new product or service. I love doing this. It's very exciting because it gives us a chance to sort of test the market. Who can you partner with? How can you create some symbiosis? Think about people who have the same target audience as you. How will you partner with them? And what could you do to the design to make it more compelling and more attractive and obviously more viral? Get people to talk about it. So we're going to have a little work session right now, and I'm going to kill this screen. Give me a B here, Matt. And I'm going to walk around the room. Corey and Matthew and I are going to sort of wander around, and I want you to have a little work session. And so let's see, have one person at each table start first, okay? So look around the table. Who looks like a leader at your table? Look around the table. Look around the table. Don't look at me. Look around the table. Who looks like the leader at your table? Go ahead and elect them right now to go first. Everybody should have a chance. If you don't talk about this, nothing's going to happen. So ready? Go. And then in a few minutes we'll have lunch. We'll have lunch served out. I don't want to hear everybody talking about football or anything, so I'm wandering around here.
A guest of Mark Deal. Having a great time here. But the feedback on your website is that I love that they're to the point. They show successes, and it's exciting. I look forward to getting them.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, let's get. Yeah. Actually, I would say there's probably about 10 or 12 people here. And it's interesting to meet people finally. How long have you been on the list? How long have you been receiving it?
Maybe 3 years.
Okay.
It's been a little while, yeah. And I've enjoyed them.
Good.
And they're not loaded with viruses.
Yeah.
So my computer still works.
Really? Too bad Matt isn't here. We can thank him.
Yeah.
So what topics should I, what would be appropriate for you? Because that's another thing that, I wonder, what should I write about? What do people want to know about,
I like the fact that you've taken from businesses of all sizes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
The big conglomerates can make it. They'll buy their success. But you've shown that it doesn't take a great deal of money in those super deep pockets to make it.
No.
And it's being imaginative, creative, open-minded.
Exactly.
Not a creature of habit, willing to take a risk on trying something new. And it shows that it works.
So final question, what's the big takeaway that you got from the seminar?
I don't know if it was just one little thing. There was a lot of little things that I think I can practice right away. I think something that jumps to mind is allowing the employees to feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Get back from them. Ask them if something's working or if it's not, and ask them how to get it to work better.
Sure. Good.
Yeah, just participation.
Beautiful.
So.
Yeah, and Maury's presentation, that's fabulous. Well, thank you for coming, Mark.
My pleasure, Mark.
I appreciate it. It's good to finally meet you.
All right, keep me on the list.
I will.
Thanks for the lunch.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I want to thank you for coming.
Well, Mark, it was a pleasure being here.
Great.
Thank you for inviting us.
Great.
We had a great time. Very informative.
Yeah. What was your big takeaway for today, either from myself or Maury? What was the one thing that sort of really hit home, Ken?
What really hit home the most was just building relationships and making connections with people. That's really what it's all about. Even the viral marketing, you have to make a connection with people in order for them to respond the way that you would like.
Yeah.
And that I think was the most had the most influence for me.
Yeah. And I'm excited about doing our upcoming trainings with your people.
Oh, absolutely.
And, that's coming up soon.
We're excited. We're excited as well. As a matter of fact, I'm a little tongue-tied. I'm so excited. As a matter of fact, after the meeting that we had, the rally we had a couple weeks ago, everyone was so excited. They thought that you were just outstanding.
Oh, come on.
They're looking
You're just
forward
saying
to
it because there's a camera here.
Well, okay. Plus, you paid me. But no, we really are. We're looking forward to that in the next few weeks. So,
Good.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, listen, Ken, thanks for coming and thanks for bringing your management staff and all that. And really excited to have you here.
Great.
Look forward to seeing you soon.
Likewise.
All right, my friend.
All right,
Thanks.
take care.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's fabulous, like always.
You're used to the camera in your face because you just came off a shoot. How did it go?
It was good. It was really good.
When's it going to air?
It's going to be on Channel 9, the 31st at 7 o'clock, the Lottery Big Spin.
Wow, I'm going to have to get popcorn so I can watch it.
I know.
What was your big takeaway for today's event?
Values. The distinction of values. And I feel like if you can get your team aligned on the values, that gives you automatic access to coaching, which is the feedback, and you get a really solid team.
Well, that's true.
That
that's
was
true. People
huge.
jump to their goals, and they set goals, they don't make them. They set goals, they don't make them. And they never realize that it starts with values. Well, good. Well, thank you for coming. And
it's huge.
Everyone, stay tuned. Everyone, tune in, Channel 9, March 31st. What time?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m. to see Vicky.
Thank you.
All right, baby. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Streaming video. But
Yeah, well, you know.
I'm a Madagascar cockroach, and I'm here for an exhibit at the zoo. And though I'm new in town, everyone's been real nice. They try to teach me about hockey, but I don't get it. Well, I'm a laid-back guy, unless you're in my grill. Then I'll hiss at you, hiss at you, hiss at you, hiss at you. Sometimes I get homesick. I miss my own bed and the temperature. Set me up so I can send instant messages to all my friends. Keep up with the gossip on the scar. Some other Madagascar cockroach facts. We make super fantastic pets, and if we want to find a mate, we hiss also. So if you see me round and you act real nice, I might hiss at you, 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 hiss at you.